Hey, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel, and we are doing a readathon in the middle of the month. I know, it's not typically the rules that we've played by before. For the past year and a half, I've done a readathon at the very last weekend of every single month, and now it is the middle of the month because next weekend I have book club, and I also want to prepare for the trip I have the following weekend where I'll actually be traveling to meet one of my bookish friends. We're going to a book event. It's very exciting. So those next 2 weekends are just not possible to have a readathon. So I decided that it's going to be in the middle of the month. I love doing readathons. I love devoting a weekend solely to reading, not worrying about content or anything like that. And because I've been traveling so much lately, this is going to feel really, really nice. So I'm super excited. I feel like I have a decent variety lined up between audiobooks, ebooks, and physical books. So I'm going to be floating around all 3 of those. My goal is to focus on the physical books, but realistically, I have a decent amount that I want to do. So an audiobook is probably going to be playing in my ears the majority of the weekend, which is fine actually, because the audiobooks that I have on the docket is Foxglove. I have like 7 hours left of that. Oh boy, this is the second book to Belladonna. I really liked Belladonna, and Foxglove is, I don't know if the pacing is different, what my deal is. I'm just not as invested this go around with Foxglove. It feels a lot harder to get through in my opinion. There were a few scenes where I was really into the book, so I'm thinking just as the action ramps up, it'll get better and better, but I was definitely apprehensive at first. I don't think the 7 hours will be as bad now, but it'll be interesting to see how quickly I get through it. And then what I'm thinking for my next audiobook, because I'm pretty sure I can get 7 hours of audiobooks in, especially once I tell you about what's going on at work, is I want to read Tom Hanks's book, The Making of Another Major Motion Picture Masterpiece, because that is the book that my friend's book club is reading. They meet in person. I'm not traditionally a part of the book club, but since we'll be going to book club one of the nights, I also want to read the book ahead of time. That audiobook is 16 hours. That's long. That's very long. So starting it during the readathon will be extremely helpful, to say the least. I would love to at least finish Foxglove and start the other audiobook, which I think is perfectly reasonable. Then I actually have a decently clear order for ebooks and physical books, which I'm really happy about. First, we have The Next Mrs. Parrish. I feel like I've been reading this forever. It's not slow going. I just feel like it hasn't been a priority. So gonna make it a priority this weekend. I am 52% of the way into this book. I just checked. So hopefully I am going to knock this one out fairly quickly. It is the sequel to The Last Mrs. Parrish. I'm liking this way more than The Last Mrs. Parrish so far. I feel like this feels more original. It honestly feels more convoluted. I'm enjoying it way more. I do think that you should read these two fairly close to each other, because I was definitely confused at the start of this book. I couldn't remember how the last book ended, so maybe I should have reread the ending just before this book. I would definitely recommend that if you're thinking about picking this one up. But I actually do like this quite a bit, and also I think the author does a decent job of telling you what happened in the first book, to where I feel like people could even pick this book up and kind of know what was happening. So I really like it so far. I just need the time to sit down and read it, which is the point of a readathon, is to sit down and read stuff, and that's what I want to do. Next is my in-person's book club pick, The Paradise Problem. As you can see, I'm a decent way through. I really am enjoying this book. I am a Christina Lauren fan. We are following Anna, who married a guy named West because they wanted housing, and so that's how they got married for it. However, it turns out West is one of these like inheritance babies, where they have like literally $100 million in their inheritance, but one of the conditions to get his inheritance is he has to be married for 5 years. So then, after really not speaking, after they move out of this cheaper apartment, Wes needs Anna to come with him to his sister's wedding and show essentially that they've been married. I love fake marriage. I love fake dating. I love all of that. That's one of my favorite tropes. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive, so I guess it has special content. I don't know what special content it has. I do know that the back cover is a little different. So if you wanted to, that could be the cover of your book, which, you know, I don't know if I would do that in public, but some people like that. So I like the more summery cover like this. Definitely a little more discreet in my opinion. But obviously if somebody likes those cartoon covers, I feel like it's nice to have that option. So going to read this next after I finish The Next Mrs. Parrish. I'm not going to hop around, I think, as much. I really want to just sit and focus on some books. So first is The Next Mrs. Parrish, second is The Paradise Problem, and then I realistically do want to finish this book as well, or at least get a better portion of the way into it. My in-person book club for The Paradise Problem is meeting next weekend, but my book club for When Women Were Dragons, the virtual book club, is either meeting June 25th or June 30th. People are still voting on the time, so hopefully I'll have a better idea when I check the polls at some point this weekend. I would really love to get through it. When Women Were Dragons, I was skeptical, I'm not going to lie to you. It sounded very character driven. I'm a decent portion of the way into it as well, you know, not as far as The Paradise Problem, but I am actually thoroughly enjoying this. I think the way that they're telling this story is right up my alley as somebody who doesn't always like character driven books, but they are telling it in chronological order. We are following Alex, who experiences her aunt going through this mass dragoning in 1955, where over 600,000 women turn into dragons. And it becomes taboo to talk about, but as you're learning more and more about the world and how things are taboo, I'm sure, just my guess is, you know, Alex turns into like this scientist as she grows up. She's gonna do probably more research. We're gonna learn more and more. So I really am enjoying the way that this is being told. Again, I don't necessarily think there's a plot to hold on to. I still think it's extremely character driven, but you get these like articles that you can read in between that I think are really cool because I was a social studies teacher, so I loved research. So I think the way that the story is being told is extremely compelling. So I would love to then get through this third. This is the only book where I might flip to another book if I actually do finish the other two, because I'm so used to reading multiple books at a time now that I don't know what I would do if I actually just focused on one book. I might have to try that. But of course, I do have another book, which is This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I love Carly Fortune. I've been wanting to read this for a while. I just haven't, again, like made the time to read it. So definitely want to put this on the readathon list. It would be great just to even get 5 pages in. I'm not even kidding. I would just love to start this book. I also do have another book. I don't want to talk about it yet. I don't know if it's even going to be a possibility, but I do have another book that I could add to this stack. This Summer Will Be Different. I would be really grateful if I could get to it. That would be like absolutely fantastic. So we got our lineup physically, and of course I am starting this early morning on the Friday of the readathon. It is Friday, June 14th, so we're right in the middle of the month, which is going to be really interesting because I usually read to get like book buying credits, but now I'm just reading to try to like keep up with book club and finish my TBR, which are definitely some different feelings to be having. I think the way that I'm thinking about reading has just shifted, so we'll see how it feels over this weekend to be reading these books just for book club instead of some things that I necessarily picked out. I started reading again for my enjoyment, but now I feel like it's become more of a commitment. Luckily, the books that I'm reading, I'm enjoying a lot more, but it'll be interesting to see if I get 2 duds in a month. I don't know. So I've already listened to 20 minutes of Foxglove, and I will most likely continue to listen to Foxglove today. I don't realistically know if I'm actually going to get to one of the physical books today. Obviously, work is still happening. I typically clock in at 8 o'clock. I work for the majority of the day, you know, till about 4 or 5. It all just depends on how long my actual lunch break is, because, you know, I'm supposed to get an hour's lunch unpaid. Can't tell you the last time I took that. But I do take a break in the middle of the day, and then I will work until about my full 8 hours, and I do want to go grocery shopping, and I kind of want to just get all of that out of the way today, which means focusing more on audiobooks. And then our house seriously does need to be weeded. I haven't done any weeding. I haven't been home really to do weeding. I need to do that. It's really bad. Like I'm definitely like, ooh, I'm really glad that I'm here the next 2 weekends to hopefully help weed, because yeah, it does not look very good. So my plan is work, listen to the audiobook. I have a lot of repetitive tasks saved up today, so I'm really excited because then hopefully I can get a decent portion of the way into the audiobook. I only have 1 meeting, which is great, so hopefully that means a lot of time to listen. And then if I grocery shop, we grocery shop like 40 minutes from our house, so that gives me over, you know, like an hour and 20 minutes more of audiobook listening, including whatever I walk through the grocery store. And then I think I would only pick up the physical book if I came home after grocery shopping shopping and I still felt up to reading. It just all depends on the timing of it. So that's, the first day. Saturday, I want to wake up and read because it's really hot around here right now. And that's what I want to do Saturday and Sunday. Instead of starting the day with a physical book, I want to start the day with an audiobook. And then whenever I get too tired from reading, if my arm hurts, if it gets too warm, then I want to come inside and solely focus on physical books. That is kind of the goal. That's the plan of what I want to do. We're going to see how it goes. I'm really hopeful. I feel like I'm always really hopeful. So let's go and get ready for work, continue to listen to Foxglove, and hopefully get to a physical book tonight. All right, it is day one still of the readathon. I feel like I haven't done like a formal second day one update down here in a while. It is 4:28. I took like a 20-ish minute lunch break, and I'm starting at 8 o'clock. I've worked my 8 hours. My boss actually told me even earlier than this that I was good to go, but I wanted to get to a good stopping point in the project I was working on. And boy, has it been a big audiobook day. Like, I just feel like my energy levels are so high. I feel so good about this readathon. I've listened to 4 hours and 53 minutes of Foxglove. I don't know if it's the narrator. I don't know what it is. That book just seems like it's dragging on. Like, I know a lot has happened in the book. I've been able to follow it fine, but just, oh my gosh, the fact that I think I'm going to listen to the Tom Hanks audiobook after this, it's just not exciting. I'm just not excited to listen to it. I feel like I might need to spend a little bit of time on Libby while listening to Foxglove today, just finding another book to listen to, because I don't know if I can do like another 16-hour audiobook. I just might need something a little bit lighter, maybe a little YA thrown in between. I don't typically juggle audiobooks, but after Foxglove and knowing that I'm going into like a Tom Hanks book I'm definitely leaning towards it. I looked up the Tom Hanks book. It does at least say it's his first novel. Great. Just what I want. A novel. Oh, I don't know. It's rated a 4.3 though on Amazon, a 3.7 on Goodreads. That's a decent discrepancy. It's 448 pages. No wonder why it's so long. Oh, okay. So I want to read the description and see if it's something that I really do want to. Oh my gosh, there's parts. Okay. So it says, from the legendary actor and best-selling author, a novel about the making of a star-studded multi-million-dollar superhero action film and the humble comedic book that inspired it. Funny, touching, and wonderfully thought-provoking, while also capturing the changes in America and American culture since World War II. Part one of this story takes place in 1947. A troubled soldier returning from war meets his talented 5-year-old nephew, leaves an incredible impression, and then disappears for 23 years. Then cut to 1970, the nephew, now drawing underground comic books in Oakland, California, reconnects with his uncle, and remembering the comic book he saw when he was 5, draws a new version with his uncle as a World War II fighting hero. Cut to present day, a commercially successful director discovers the 1970s comic book and decides to turn it into a contemporary superhero movie. Cue the cast. We meet the film's extremely difficult male star, his wonderful leading lady, the eccentric writer-director, the producer, the gopher production assistant, I don't know what that means, and everyone else on both sides of the camera. Okay, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I might have to look on Libby. My husband and I are going to actually take our dogs for a little walk, and then I'm going to go grocery shopping, so I'm still listening to Foxglove. I might be able to finish Foxglove today. I only have like 2.5 hours left of it, and then that means I have to rant the Tom Hanks book. But I might spend like the next few minutes in between waiting for my husband to get done with work to walking the dogs, just like scrolling on Libby to see if I can find something else. Oh, I just got rid of a bunch of my holds too, because I thought I was just going to go straight into listening to the Tom Hanks book, but I don't know if I can. So day one of the readathon, super great and chaotic. Still no physical books yet, but because of how early I'm still leaving to grocery shop, I might be able to get a little bit of The Next Mrs. Parrish in tonight. I'm not 100% sure. I'm at least gonna grab it and have it next to me so that hopefully I have a little bit of time. I don't know. We will just have to see. So let's keep going with our readathon. I don't want to say anything about how much I think I can get in this readathon yet. I think I just have to see how day one goes, and then I can get my hopes up tomorrow morning. morning. It is bright and early on day 2 of the readathon. Super excited because I've only taken care of the dogs today, so I haven't done too much listening, but I am officially at 8 hours and 35 minutes. I'm super proud of this number, especially from a day 1 when I wasn't really anticipating much, and I actually was able to read physically yesterday too. So I feel like this has been a super positive start to the readathon. I did finish Foxglove, and I went to a Rebecca Yarros signing. This is how I kept reading this series, and a girl there who we talked for like 2.5 hours because that's how long we were in line. She loves the Foxglove series, and the author is coming to Anderson's, the bookstore I go to for like all of the events, and so she and I are gonna go and meet this author together, which is super exciting. Foxglove, it definitely got better at the end. I don't know why it felt so long in the beginning, and I really also think the audiobook narrator, while she does a good job, it's just so slow, and I listen at 1 time speed because I have OCD, and it's all about trying to have me be present in the moment, not rushing through things, not making a to-do list. So I don't listen any faster, but I really wanted to speed this one up just because I feel like she was talking pretty slow. But overall, I feel like I liked it. I don't know if I don't know what I want to rate it yet. I feel like I have to sit on it for a little bit for this one. Hopefully by the end of this readathon, I'll know and then can give like a proper rating. Probably will come Monday once I've read a bunch of other books, hopefully. I have started the Tom Hanks book. I don't remember the title, so I have to look at it. Sorry, I feel like it's a long title and I wasn't expecting to read the book. All right, so I am about, I think I'm only like 30-ish minutes into the making of another major motion picture masterpiece. It's a lot of M's in the title. What did I think of the book so far? I feel like Tom Hanks narrating has definitely kept me more involved than I thought I would be. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that an actor has a really good audiobook voice. I don't know why that kind of shocked me. He's not necessarily the best at like different people's voices, so I feel like I do have to pay attention more. Apparently there's a full cast at some point. I haven't gotten there. Also, the first chapter was like 20 something minutes, but then chapter 2 was 153. So my plan is to listen to a full chapter of that, and then I want to switch to the other book that I rented because I did find another book that I think fits exactly what I'm looking for in terms of like a shorter audiobook to listen to in between this longer book. And that other book is by Kaylin Barron, which is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. It's a 6-hour audiobook, so much shorter. I liked Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin, and so when I saw this one on some of the more popular available now books and it was only 6 hours, I was like, this is great to complement like a 16-hour audiobook, because then obviously the averages between the two books is 11 hours, and I feel like most audiobooks average around 10 to 11 hours, so I think that'll be a really good combination. Like I said, I think I want to listen to the 2.5-hour chapter and then listen to a little bit of You're Not Supposed to Die here. I don't know. Oh, it's called You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. I really need to make sure I get these longer titles like seared in my brain for this readathon. I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to at least listen to a little bit of You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, because I'm hoping to get through the 2.5 hours of the Tom Hanks book. We're gonna call it the Tom Hanks book when I don't feel like saying the full title. And so I feel like my audiobooks are a little bit better now. I am looking forward to getting through them. I don't have too many opinions on the Tom Hanks books besides the chapter's pretty long, and so I don't know if the book's gonna transform with the full cast over time or not. And then I obviously have no opinions about You're Supposed to Die Tonight because I haven't listened to it yet. So the plan is this morning to weed, and then after weeding, I want to also take care of some other chores in the house ideally, and then hopefully the majority of the afternoon can actually be physically reading. So like I said, I was able to physically read some last night. I went from 50 to 60% of the Next Mrs. Parrish. It is a pretty quick read, so I'm really confident that if I get inside at a decent time to read physically, I will finish this today. I don't really have any doubts about it. I also need to make sure that I do my review for this, so my NetGalley rating looks really nice. I only have 2 books left on NetGalley right now that I'm approved for, so I might get to 100% again after, getting through them. So I might start another NetGalley book during this readathon. We'll just have to see. As for the Next Mrs. Parrish, I really don't know what's gonna happen, and I'm honestly a little bit frustrated with one of the characters. Like, I understand that this book had to have some type of plot to continue and be created, but I don't know. I definitely have some feelings about it at this point. If you haven't read The Last Mrs. Parrish, I'm going to briefly talk about some spoilers. I would would skip ahead maybe 2 minutes just in case. In the next Mistress Parish, you still follow Daphne, and she is just making some questionable decisions with her kids. I'm not a mom, so I feel like I can't really judge her that much, but the decision that she makes to even like take her kids back to Jackson after how god awful he treated her, I just don't get it, and I'm so frustrated by that decision making. And like, she says she's doing it because one of her kids is so sad that their dad isn't in their life, but then she doesn't want to tell her kids the awful things her dad did. I literally forget how old her kids are, because the way her kids are acting, they seem like they're teenagers and could probably handle what happened to their mother. I don't know. It like, that is the most frustrating plot line. The plot line with Amber, who's also from the first book, that's fine. I don't really care about that one in terms of like, it doesn't make me upset. I think that plot line is what makes the book interesting, and I really think you could have just followed Amber's story. Obviously, it would have been such a shorter book. You could have just followed Amber's story, I think, without going back to Daphne, and I feel like I wouldn't be so upset reading it. So it's gonna be really interesting what I rate this one. This might be one of my lowest arc ratings, just because I simply hate the Daphne storyline so much. Like, every time I get to one of her chapters now, I'm just sick of it. Like, and again, I feel bad because I'm not a mom, so I don't know what that position would feel like, but it's just, I don't know, so irritating. So let's go weed for a little bit. Good news, my husband did say that the part I was really scared of to weed, he's like, well, we have rock and we have dirt in that area, so I'm just gonna blowtorch it. So that'll be really cool. So we're gonna own a blowtorch. He has to go buy it, but I'm really excited that I don't have to specifically do that part. There are other areas where we have mulch, and he's like, yeah, Anna, you can't blowtorch mulch because that's going to catch on fire. So that means that I will have to try to do it by hand, which is a lot less intimidating. So hopefully it goes well. So we'll see how long I'm out there listening to the audiobook. Let's get going on day 2 of the readathon. I am very hopeful to hit 30 hours, but we'll see how this morning goes. All right, it's been about 24 hours since my last update. My bad. I recorded nothing else on day 2. What ended up happening was I weeded, which was great, and then came in, did some reading of the next Mrs. Parrish, finished it, and then shortly after finishing that, we decided to go golfing. I did bring my Kindle along for that, so I actually have another book on my Kindle that I'm reading, and then came home. I just like completely unwound, didn't want to film anything, so we're filming today. But usually at my readathon, Saturdays are the days that I film more, and Sunday I kind of slack, but I feel like that's gonna flip-flop for this readathon at least. I feel like today, now, I'm not leaving the house, I'm not getting in a car, I don't want to do that. I have to travel 2 days for work this week, so I definitely want to just have a chill Sunday. I am still going to weed though, but that's okay. As long as I don't leave like the radius of the house, I consider that still staying home even if I go outside during it. So that is hopefully going to be my plan today, is to give even more updates. I did do a lot of reading yesterday though. I'm super proud of how much I've read. I'm at 19 hours and 8 minutes, which make 30 hours feasible. We're cutting it a little close because I need 11 hours of reading, and it is already 6:30, and so that means 7:30 tonight is when I would reach 11 if I read nonstop. I'm gonna yap for a little bit, of course, and then I did discover that I have TikToks mostly edited, I just don't have captions for them, so I gotta do that for a little bit today. Oopsie daisy. So I will lose a little bit of time, but I'm hopeful to reach 30 hours. I feel like it's completely feasible. So I did finish the next Mrs. Parrish yesterday. I liked it more than the first. I don't know where I would rate it. Again, I feel like same thing with Foxglove. I just need a little bit of time. I feel like it was definitely above a 3-star at least, which is good. And same thing with Foxglove. Like, both are above 3 stars. I just don't know where I want to put the next Mrs. Parrish, because you do still need to read the last Mrs. Parrish to really get this book. And so it's like, I really didn't like the last Mrs. Parrish. I don't know. So it's kind of an interesting rating that I'm going to have with that one. And then when we went to the golf course, right now, all the physical books that I'm reading have some type of annotation. I actually have my little tabs here. So this tab plastic bag is for Paradise Problem. This plastic bag is for When Women Were Dragons. And then if I do start a Pendragon book, I'll have another one. And then if I did start, this summer will be different. That one I'm not annotating, but right now all my physical books are annotating. So when we went to the golf course, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna bring my Kindle just in case. So I started reading another book called I Need You to Read This by Jessa Maxwell because I listened to The Golden Spoon last month. Didn't even realize that I had an arc by her. I just thought the cover was compelling, really. I didn't even know what the book was about. So in I Need You to Read This, we are following Alex, who has basically worshipped this woman named Frances Keene, who was an advice columnist. She gets brutally murdered in her home, and when they open applications to replace Frances, Alex applies and gets the job. And then not only do dark secrets about Alex come out, but also trying to figure out the murder of Frances Keene is a focal point of the book. So I started this yesterday just on the golf course. It was a slower day on the golf course. If you don't golf, what can happen is like if bigger groups are in front of you, or if people like me who aren't that good are taking every single shot and not playing to like the best ball, it can slow down the day. So it was a little slower yesterday. So I would sit down when we were waiting for people to golf and I would just read this. I got about 10% of the way in, which was not something I was expecting, but I'm glad to have started it because I really want my ARC percentage to get to 100%, and I'm 2 books away from doing that. So I'm a little more motivated to read my ARCs. Plus also that's more of like a mystery type book, and I don't really have a mystery book that I'm reading right now, so I like being able to switch through the different genres. What I would also do yesterday for a lot of the time while I was doing chores and sometimes during golf or on the way to golf was listen to the audiobooks. So I did start You Shouldn't Die Here Tonight. Oh, You Weren't Supposed to Die Here Tonight. I did start that. I'm about 14% of the way in. It's a shorter audiobook, so really I've listened to about 2 chapters of it, and I am actually really enjoying it. I want to go back to that audiobook so bad. I really like the narrator of it. The concept is that, at least I think this is it, because I still haven't read the description even though I've started listening to the book. I believe the concept is they work at this terror simulator camp. It's based off a movie, and it's like performed at the same location this movie was shot, this like Camp Mirror like horror film, right? And there is like fake death, it's a horror simulation, there's fake blood, and so I think the concept is then it's going to turn into like a real slasher horror because they're reaching the last night of their season. There's already been some creepy stuff going on, there's already been some people that they can't find, so I feel like it's building up to this actual like horror slasher type of deal. So I'm really excited for that, and I've listened to 2 chapters of that because I've actually finished 2 chapters of The Making of a Major Motion Picture Masterpiece, the Tom Hanks book, and I am over 30% of the way done. I have listened to 5 hours of that audiobook. I've listened to a lot of it, okay? I'm doing pretty good. It's interesting because it said full cast, and the only part that I'm having trouble following is that Tom Hanks actually narrates a lot of the characters. So I thought Tom Hanks did like the prologue and then he would do one perspective, but he keeps coming back to do the perspectives, even though one of those perspectives already had a different audiobook narrator. So for example, and I don't think this is a spoiler, we follow somebody in the movie making industry. Her name is Alicia, I think is her full name, but everyone told her, hey, you should be called Al. So we're following Al, and Al was voiced by a woman narrator in chapter 2, and now we're in chapter 3, and she's narrated by Tom Hanks. And so I really feel like it's one you have to pay attention to. It's definitely more character driven for sure of a book. I feel like the plot is a little lost. I don't understand why everyone is connected. We are taking lots of side tangents. Super fun. So it is definitely an interesting book. I don't think it's the most boring book in the world, but it's definitely not one that, like, again, would I have picked this up without having a book club associated with it? Absolutely not. 0 chance I would do that. No. So I'm still gonna listen to it. I feel like because I picked it up on a readathon weekend, I'm just more motivated to continue reading, during the whole weekend. So I'm more motivated to listen to it, which I think is just perfect to get through that longer 16-hour stretch of audiobooks. So we'll see how much farther I get. I'm obviously not going to finish either of the audiobooks this readathon. What I hope to finish, though, is some of my physical books. After golf yesterday, I was able to push myself a little bit to read a physical book. The Paradise Problem was my choice for physical books. Look how much farther I got. I feel like I did so good. This is going to be quite easy to finish. I'm actually curious how many pages I have left. I have about 40 pages left of The Paradise Problem. I am thoroughly enjoying it. Is it a little cringy? Yes. I don't think it's overly cringy like with Tessa Bailey's writing writing style, but I feel like this is a little cringy. But again, the main character is 25 and it's written contemporary times, so I definitely understand that there's going to be like pop culture references and different languages that people are going to find cringy. I am liking the self-development of the characters. I have a feeling that there's potentially, I don't know, I'm trying to remember exactly where I left off actually. I feel like we're at the point of like the third act breakup, but also we kind of knew there was going to be a natural breaking point just from the premise of the book, so it doesn't feel as bad as some third act breakups in my opinion. I feel like it's been pretty fast paced. I feel like it's very summertime vibes because they're on a private island, so I am thoroughly enjoying it, and I'm super excited to be able to finish this because then this will be my third physical book that I finished this month. I actually used all of my book buying credits, so I really need to finish some physical books, and then hopefully I don't have the physical book next to me right now, but then I'm going to pick up When Women Were Dragons. I might also pick up This Summer Will Be Different and flip between the two. I'm definitely, I don't know, I don't feel unsettled by reading, but I feel like with When Women Were Dragons, I feel like I did a good job flipping between different books, so I might do that again just to start another one. I know I need to eventually read my Pendragon book too. We're just gonna have to see how the day goes, but right now the morning for at least like an hour-ish, I'm thinking it's gonna be devoted to reading and then breakfast, and then hopefully I really get to read like the majority of the day. This video, I've actually edited every clip, the 3 previous clips of this video already, so I feel very caught up there. I will probably edit this one as well very shortly after. I'm trying to just stay more on top of that. I think at some point I might want to walk on the treadmill, but I've been really good about walking on the treadmill every single day, so I also might not do that. I really want to focus on getting as far with the physical books as I can today, and I'm pretty sure with When Women Were Dragons, I'm like 300 pages from the end. I would just really love to make significant progress on that. I still don't know what day book club is. It's either June 25th or June 30th, and with The Paradise Problem, I already know that we're meeting on June 23rd, so I'm glad I'm going to get that one done. So we'll just see how much time I have. Maybe I'll look at the poll and that can determine if I'm going to flip between books or not. I just also feel like I'm on such a roll with reading, and I know Carly Fortune books I can usually finish in a day, and so part of me is motivated to do it that way as well. Well, now I've been yapping for a total of 11 minutes. I really want to start listening to my audiobook and get to reading, and hopefully we have a really good update and a good prognosis to get to 30 hours this readathon. That would be great to do 2 30-hour readathons in a row. I know it's kind of different because I'm, recording this in the middle of the month, but I think that this was just a perfect weekend for a readathon anyway, so I'm super happy that I didn't hold off on it. So let's get to reading. Well, the readathon's over. I didn't really do too many other clips this readathon, and now I feel sick, so that's really fun. Gonna try to push through this update and then get this video posted. However, I have some very exciting news. I did reach over 30 hours, 31 and a half hours. I feel really good about that. I don't think all the reading made me sick. I really think what made me sick is I swear I had like heat exhaustion, close to a heat stroke one time in like 2019, and I feel like the heat just gets to me. And I was in the heat today, and it just like, I don't know, I think it just does something to me where I just like don't feel good. But I have a doctor's appointment this week, so we should be fine. I want to wrap up the books I finished as well as their ratings and then tell you what I am still reading. So first up we have Foxglove. I think I'm gonna do a 3.5 with Foxglove because I did like it, but I think the narrator just killed it for me, made it a little slower. I wasn't as invested. I can kind of see where a third book is going, but I'm not exactly 100% sure, so it's definitely a 3.5 of a book for me. Another 3.5 is also going to be the Next Mrs. Parrish. I think that's a fair rating. I liked it more than the first one, but I still had problems, especially with Daphne's storyline, so that's what I have there. I did finish The Paradise Problem. Now this is a book club book, so I might change my rating. I like to save those until after I talk to somebody about it, but I feel like this is at least a 4. I did feel overly cringy at some points in this book. Usually that doesn't bother me, but it's a bit much this time around. And then I feel okay with the resolution of the book, which is good. I just still feel like, I don't know, I guess a little unsettled. Not because there wasn't a good enough resolution. It's just I wish I saw saw more of the character's progression near the end of the book. I feel like the epilogue was just so quick, and the bonus content wasn't really anything that special. It was like 2 pages of a newspaper. So I don't know. I mean, I got it for $3 off, which is nice, I guess, but it definitely is weird for the exclusive content. Unless it is the reversible cover, then like I can see that being a little bit more, but those are just my opinions. So 4 out of 5 stars, cute summer romance. Just be prepared for a little bit of cringiness, or if you hate cringe, don't even pick this up. When Women Were Dragons, I'm also leaning towards a 4. It got a little exposition-y at the end. It just got a little too rambly. I really didn't care at that point because I just wanted to wrap up the book and get some answers. I also didn't fully get the book. That's on me. It took me out of it a little bit. I feel okay in terms of resolution, but definitely not as good as I felt with Paradise Problem, which isn't very good because I didn't feel full resolution with Paradise Problem either. So again, 4 out of 5. I did enjoy it. I think this is for a unique reader that does like character-driven stories, but you have to like research too, which I do like research. So I feel like those are just some things to kind of keep in mind. I would definitely recommend this, and I'm curious to see what book club is going to think. So I'm happy because both book club books are done, which means I've read 4 physical books this month, which means everything else I finish is a book buying credit. I did not finish any other physical books. I do have 2 still on the docket. The first is This Summer Will Be Different. Yes, this is my bookmark. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm on page 56, so I am hopefully going to just breeze through this to get another book buying credit. And then I need you to read this. I surprisingly do want to continue to pick this up. I didn't touch it really at all yesterday, but I do want to get to a nice clean chapter ending at least, and then maybe put it down for a little bit. I don't know. So both of the books that I'm currently reading, I'm at least happy with. I don't feel like I'm going to trudge through them as much. In regards to the audiobooks, I do feel like I am still trudging through the making of another major motion picture masterpiece, the Tom Hanks book. I am, on a chapter where it says the chapter is 355 minutes long. Oh, how? Where are my breaks? I just want some breaks. Also, the full cast, okay? We are in somebody else's perspective right now, and they're being voiced by not Tom Hanks. But I bet you he's going to be voiced by Tom Hanks again. And I need Tom Hanks to stop narrating these people because he's not changing his voice enough. And sometimes I don't know who's talking when Tom Hanks is narrating. It just confuses me. I don't think it's bad. I do think it's mostly in chronological order. I would say we are getting flashbacks for some of the cast of this motion picture, and it's kind of throwing me out of order, but that's usually when a different narrator comes in, is when we're really in the past, another narrator comes in, and then modern day is Tom Hanks, which I appreciate that distinction. I don't know. I just wish Tom Hanks was a little more diverse with his audiobook skills, I guess. So those are my feelings on that one. I'm over 70% of the way now, by the way. I am trucking through that. I'm trying to get that done. I am rocking it, in my opinion. In terms of You Aren't Supposed to Die Tonight, You Weren't Supposed to Die Tonight, one of those 2 titles, I definitely get creepy crawly vibes. I literally listened to a chapter of it for the readathon last night, and then I had to read a little bit more of This Summer Will Be Different because I got such creepy crawlies from You Weren't Supposed to Die Tonight. I am really enjoying the slasher vibes of it. I'm super excited to get back and listen to it. Since I'm not really feeling very good today, I might treat myself and listen to it because I've already listened to over an hour of the Tom Hanks books today, and my goal is to listen to an hour of the Tom Hanks book every day the rest of this week past the readathon so that I can finish it. So overall, I would say this is a really successful readathon. I am definitely interested to see what next month is going to bring. It's going to be a while until we have a readathon, so definitely excited to catch up then. I'm just really proud of myself in terms of pushing through to read, and now I feel like because I got through my book club books, I get to really read books that now I kind of want to read, if that makes sense. And I feel like it's brought back my joy of reading almost again. I feel like I go through waves where reading feels like a chore, and then I have so much fun reading again. And now I feel like I'm back in my reading is so fun, it's all I want to do type of phase, which when I'm sick, that's really nice. That's usually what I do when I'm sick, is either listen to a book or read a book when I'm sick because it keeps my eyes off the screen. So we'll see what happens over these next few days. I have just one little video planned next week, more of a little reactions video, and then I have a trip video planned, and then checking with my pre-orders. And so I'm really excited. I hopefully will have enough videos until the next readathon, but if you have any ideas, definitely let me know, and I will catch you in the next one.